Hi, I'm 𝗀𝗻.
Hello, my name is James.
Alright, so for today's episode, we will be discussing about what does an insurance lawyer do. So, Mr. James, I wanted to ask that a quick definition search of the area of insurance law. We know that it is the law relating to insurance that covering their policies and claim handling. So from there, we know that it can be broadened into three broad stages. That is the regulations of the business of insurance, the regulations on the content of the policies, and the regulations of the insurance claim handling. Can we know which area is it that you practice in, and that can you tell us in brief detail, like how is it like when applied to the law in our country?
Okay, sure. Briefly, we as lawyers, insurance lawyers, we focus on claims, because when the client comes to see us, they don't ask you about the insurance policy and all that. Simply put, they will ask you, can I claim for this and how much, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's very simple, you see. They don't care how the law works, not really.
Oh.
So as far as a claim is concerned, as far as insurance is concerned, they focus on the claim itself. Yes. So of course there are several acts that we look at. Since I am doing accident matters, personal injury matters, so our focus on the law is only on Road Traffic Act 1987. So in that regard, I'll give you a brief details on how does a client come and see us and all that to walk through. So basically, the client will come and see us if you are for plaintiff. Okay, there are two sides. You are for plaintiff and you are defendant. In 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗧 𝗦𝘁, which is our firm, we do defense work. Defense work meaning to say we represent insurance company. Yeah. So basically, the opponent, they will file in a case, and they will need to send the insurance company notice first, section 962. So once the insurance company has received this notice, it's mandatory under the Road Traffic Act. So then the insurance has two choices. One is to either directly settle the matter with the plaintiff itself, the claimant, or they can appoint a solicitor to litigate or to negotiate. So that's where we are coming in. So of course, direct settlement is a lot cheaper. You don't need lawyers, you see. Once you hire a lawyer, it's all about cost. Yeah. But then again, lawyers can do things that the insurance can't do. Example, go to court to litigate, and so to negotiate with their solicitors, you see. Most of them, when the plaintiff file the case, they have lawyers appointing them. They have lawyers to guide them. This gives them an upper hand as opposed to the insurance. So this is where we all as defense lawyers come in. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question briefly.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yep.
That's quite insightful. How did you enter this area of practice then?
Okay, I've been doing general litigation for 2 to 3 years now. So upon doing general litigation, I find that yes, it is very broad. It gives you a very dynamic approach to things. It sharpens your skills in terms of thinking on your feet, how to dispute the matter and all that. Of course, with points, anyone can argue. But whether you can argue with points, that's the differentiating between a good lawyer and an average lawyer. So basically, what I can say is, after doing general litigation for quite some time, I find that there is a need to specialize. You see.
Yeah.
You can be a general lawyer for 10, 20 years. Yes, it's good for you. But then again, what makes the client comes to you? You specialize in something, and you will be in that market.
Understand.
Yes. You can be 10 years in general litigation. Different clients can look for you. But then again, when they want specific professionalism or opinions, they will go to those specific people. And this is when those specific people can advise the client properly and ultimately to charge more. Yeah. So which is why I've decided to enter into running down matters.
Oh, so it's like kind of like jack of all trades and master of none.
You can say that, yes, correct. But it's not that general litigation is not good. General litigation is actually very lucrative for new setups, I would say. Because basically, new setups, you can do anything. If you are generally practitioner, you can do anything.
Yeah.
So, but to specialize in something, I think that's what I personally look like. Yeah, that's the difference.
So what is it that I understand, like to specialize is better because people will come find you, but
Yes.
what is it about the aspects of insurance law that make you specifically choose this area instead of another?
Okay, of course, when you during law school,
Mhm.
you all think that okay, it's all about arguments of the law.
Mhm.
You have to memorize all these case laws. You have to put the latest case laws, the most high court. You put court of appeal. If you put court of appeal, you put federal court. Like,
Yeah.
case against cases lah. But when it comes to outside world, when it comes to practice, your skills, your negotiation skills comes into play.
Mhm.
So which is why when I said the defense, when I mentioned defendants firm earlier, insurance hired us, and one thing that they can't do is that they can't appear in court, they can't negotiate with the lawyers. This is where negotiation comes in.
Oh.
Plays a very important key. How to negotiate? First, of course, you need your law. You need to know your law in the back of hands,
Mhm.
and then also you need to know your facts of the case. Facts is very important. You can say that, oh, okay, I specialize in the area, I know all the facts. No, you don't say that. Each case is specific. So you look at it as a new case. Each time there's a new case, a new case. Look at it specifically, then you negotiate. Yeah. Of course, negotiation skills also takes time to improve lah. Simply put, yeah.
So it's the aspects of like being able to handle individual case and practicing your negotiating skills that
Yes.
appeals to you.
Yes, correct.
Mm.
Of course, knowing the law will give you an upper hand. Right? Not to say that I don't need the law, I don't want to learn up and all that. No, it's not. You have to know the law as well. See. So what gives you okay, let's say after school, after you graduate, all of you are at the same level field. Okay, you got example, if I do BPTC, you get very competent. He also get very competent. So what's the difference? That difference comes in how you carry yourself, first thing. Second thing, how you speak. Third thing, how you negotiate. You need to be a people person, I would say. To a certain extent, to be an actor. Because I think you are aware that if you go to court, you have to litigate in front of a judge. You have to persuade the judge to buy your story, isn't it? So if you persuade them, how do you want to be a good persuader? You have to be a good actor in a way.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's good for you all to actually try the law first. Try to be a lawyer first, then you'll know. It's quite a good feeling because I didn't want to be a lawyer in the first place. You see, I wanted to be an income counsel. Easy one. 9 to 6 job, standard pay, no stress. Not to say no stress lah, different kinds of stress. You see, but this one is a different level work. You see.
That definitely understand.
You are a professional. You are a lawyer. You are a professional. When it comes to professional, they have a different standard. They expect different things from you. Same goes to doctors, isn't it?
True.
They expect doctors to have the higher duty of care as opposed to a reasonable person. Right?
So after your years of practicing in this market, like in your opinion, what is the conditions of this market, like in terms of saturation and the employability, like prior to MCO and post MCO, like has there been any drastic change about it?
Okay, to be frank, prior to MCO, there are still job vacancies in the market. It's not to say that getting more and more lawyers in the market, that's all, there goes my career, I can't find a proper job and all that. No, of course, first thing they look at your qualifications. That's very common. All firms, they look at qualifications because they don't know you. How do they judge you? They judge you from paper qualification, simple. That's how they know you. That's the assurance that they get from a third party, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can tell them how good you are, I can persuade the judge, no problem and all that. But then again, paper qualification, it's all about documents. Yeah, when you go to court, it's all about documents. The same thing also. The same like an interview. How can you prove you are capable? They can't trust you. They can't take you on surface value that you say that I can persuade. I'm very good. I'm very hardworking. No such thing. Paper qualification is the first thing. So again, focus on the law degree first. Try to excel. Then after that, you can still build up on your advocacy skills. No problem at all. So when it comes to whether the market is saturated or not, post MCO, all aspects of the industry are affected. You can't run away. There is not one person in the market that tells you that I'm doing very well. Maybe insurance, medical insurance, because now people go and see doctor, they fall sick, they didn't buy insurance. Buying insurance, I'm not selling insurance here, but I mean it's a form of insurance. So Yeah, it's definitely affected. It has definitely affected the saturation in the market, you see. But then again, that's where you all have to work even harder to prove that you are different from your peers, sad to say. It's a very competitive market, so it's like it's a sharp world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big reality.
Yes, big reality. Yes. Well, when it comes to law, you have to be realistic and rational. Yeah, that's very basic. Yeah.
So, thank you for that. So, how does a day at work sounds like that?
Okay, a day. Okay, for us, I do accident matters, as I mentioned earlier. So, accident happens every day, and just so happen, fortunate enough, my firm is on is a panel solicitor for a lot of insurance company. So we have tons of files. We have a lot of files. So when it comes to disputes, when it comes to court matters, we have to go to court every day, basically every day. And of course, we will have to prepare for trials and all that. So when it comes to trial, okay, I'll tell you my day-to-day activities. You see, first thing, when insurance company hired us, appointed us as their solicitor, we will do an opinion based on documents that we receive. Because by that time, the insurance would have received the 96 notice from the plaintiff solicitor. So upon receiving that, we will do our opinions to tell them what's the liability of this case, who's at fault, assumably at fault, and how much is their claim. Because I also mentioned personal injury. If you break your hand, how much can you claim? If you injure your head, how much can you claim, and all that. So after receiving the opinion, then you give advice to your client to say that whether you want to litigate, whether is it advisable to litigate or to propose settlement. This also comes with experience. You're not handling a first-time client anymore. You have to understand that. Insurance company, they have been in the market for quite some time. Yeah, so they expect a lot from you. Yeah, of course, when you just started off, nothing to worry about. You have very good seniors, hopefully, to guide you. Yeah. So, following that, after the opinion, then if I choose a cause to litigate, if I advise my client to litigate and the client is with you, then you litigate. You go to court, you go through trial, basically trial procedures, documents are put in, once pleadings closed, and you set the trial dates. Once trial dates is fixed, then your witness will attend, and then close case, file submission, decision. Basically, it's the same for all litigation matters, more or less the same. Yeah.
So, like as you said, like every sector of the business is definitely affected.
Right.
But I wanted to understand more detail, like specifically, like as an insurance claim lawyer, what are the challenges you face? Like maybe not taking into account the MCO, the effect of the MCO.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to understand. To secure work, it's very difficult in the first place because it's okay. How do I put it? I put it this way. What makes you special from other lawyers? Again, first thing, and it's not any other one of client. It's insurance company. How many insurance can you count in Malaysia? Actually, there are not many. Maybe 10, maximum 12 insurance in the market. How many legal firms in the market? You can see the difference. And what makes you so special than any other legal firms in the market? Even though if you are really good, if the insurance company finds that the other person can provide better work, can provide faster work, it doesn't really matter whether you are really that good or not, because they can't see it yet. They will go to that person. And of course, when it comes to competitive market, they will consider a lot of things, whether they can liaise with you, whether you can give your opinions within 24 hours, whether you can revert within 24 hours, how accurate is your opinion, how good are you mitigating, how good are you in negotiating. All this comes into consideration. Yeah. So securing the client basically is the biggest challenges nowadays.
So from there, like, what have been the highlights of your career then?
Highlights of my career?
Yeah.
Okay, basically I focus on helping people. I like to help. But now, unfortunately, I'm helping insurance in a way. So, but of course, my satisfaction comes from giving the best to my client. Because first thing, you will be answerable to what you are doing. You have nothing to be afraid about. Of course, you have to get your position right first. You can't be being so adamant that you are right in that position, and then but the position of law is wrong, you see. Yeah. So the highlight of my career, now I'm in my peak, I think. My peak, so yet to see whether there is any highlights or not. Yeah, but how do you determine highlights of my career? I think that's very subjective, isn't it? It depends on maybe how much you earn, what car you're driving, how big is your firm, how many clients you have. Yeah, so different considerations.
From there, maybe this is a bit subjective, but
Right.
what's your definition of success then?
My definition of success, okay, basically, actually when I started off legal career, I would say that to own a firm, to have good employees, to have proper clients, and of course paying clients to a certain extent. And yeah, success is what people define, other people defines you that to a certain extent. But to me now, success is whether you have recurring clients or not. That's the thing. Clients can come to you one-off and say, okay, I come to you for this one, for this matter, and of course your success rate is determined by the client. You can say that you're really good, I'm very successful, you can tell people, surface value, you can tell people you're very successful, but whether the client comes back to you for the files or not, you won't know, and that actually tells you. Yeah. And of course, you have a lot of clients, but they have to be paying clients as well, because technically you're running a firm, you say you're not running an organization, a non-profit organization.
And so in your opinion, how does one have repeated clients then? What aspects and skills do they have to hone so that they have repeated customers then?
Yes, so first thing, you have to be updated. Example, you see, before the MCO, everything is called appearance, you go for mention and all that. During the MCO and post-MCO, now people starts to use e-review, we call it, online hearings and all that. Now we can give judgments, or we can settle off certain matters by using emails. Using online hearings, it's like a WhatsApp, but it's on computer, see. And of course, the other side is a court, and the second party is your opponent. So you have to keep updated. You have to be tech savvy. So you have to actually be ahead of the learning curve, you see. After law school, it's not the end of the learning. You have to continue learning. I think most law students okay, you are still before pre-law school, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, during law school, yeah, you don't think that after you finish law school, you stop learning. I think that as a matter of fact, that appears for most industries now. You have to continue learning. You have to provide the client with the latest solutions, best effective way, and of course, cost-effective solution. Yeah.
Also, that's why there's the CPD, isn't it?
CPD, yes, CPD in a way it's to make sure that lawyers are updated with the most recent law and also, of course, the trends of the law. See. And CPD is not only restricted to one area. There are several areas. See. So actually, the Bar Council, our Malaysian Bar Council, is actually quite good. They make sure that our lawyers are well equipped. See.
That's good.
Yeah. So try now.
So Mr. James, where do you see yourself, maybe in 5 to 10 years time then?
Of course, a lot of people say that you don't tell people your plans, you see. Once you've done it, then you show it to people. Action speaks louder than words. That's what I trust. That's what I believe. So, why don't you see me in 5 years time?
Okay, I'll keep you on that.
Okay.
Alright, so Mr. James, to our final question is after so many years of experience, do you have any advice you'd like to give to aspiring law students and lawyers?
Okay. Yes, in fact, for me, I still tell myself every day until today to say you have to love what you do. With that passion and with that love for that profession, you can go very far. Yeah, because it's not like most of the people you can see that maybe 80% of the workforce is not happy with what they're doing. This makes their growth stagnant. So, but with that passion, you push yourself, you give that extra mile to each client that you're handling, to each matter that you're doing. This is what it's important to me. This is what my advice to people. If you want to do law, you have to love the law first. But how to know whether you love the law or not? You have to try first. Yeah, it's not like you're studying law, you only stick to law. No such thing. Law is rather dynamic. Yeah. When you come out, you tell people, hey, you have a law degree. Oh, not bad. So they would have a different standard straight away. So you know about the law. Straight away you can tell different standard. When you come out and tell people you're a lawyer, they'll be like, okay, I'll be careful with what I say after that. Isn't it? It's a very normal reaction. Yeah. So that's basically my advice to aspiring law students.
Love what you do, especially.
Yes, love what you do. Have a passion. This also distinguishes you from other people. That's very important. Being distinctive, clients love you. Hopefully for the good reason. Right. Okay.
Alright, okay. Thank you so much, Mr. James.
No worries. Thank you for your time to come in.